Action.
In 2019, I decided to move to Canada to study as an international student. Now, as I sit here to tell my story, I am doing this because I went through a lot as an international student, and I want to share awareness. I want people to know my story, to know that, you know, what I went through was not easy, but by God's grace and hard work, I was able to accomplish everything I prayed and worked for. So I'm going to be doing a 3-part series on surviving Canada as an international student, and this is part 1. Why did I come to Canada? Like, how did this even come about? No, I did not know anyone in Canada or have family. I wanted to come to Canada because I have a friend. Her name is Maricia. Like, if you don't know Maricia, then you don't know me. And she wanted to come to Canada. She actually did her entire immigration process, and she came to Canada and started studying as an international student. Now, once she got here, she was like, Tassimel, the opportunities are so great. They need international students. Like, you cannot let this pass you by. And I was like, you know, she's probably right. So then I started doing my research, and I literally watched her do the entire process herself. So I was already like, I already understood how applying for a study permit and coming to Canada kind of worked, right? But I also had her help if I needed to, so I wasn't worried. Once I did my research, I had 3 options: Canada, staying in Jamaica and going to University of the West Indies, and then going to the United States of America. Now, at the time, I did the exam for the US. Is it called I can't remember the name, but you people probably know what I'm talking. I'll put the name on here. I did that exam and I failed. And the people who were helping me, like, big up to Mr. Austin and Prezi Tamara, they wanted me to go to the US really, really bad, because they also had someone who they knew that, you know, they knew the process, they helped. No, I did that exam and I failed. I don't even remember how much I got. I don't think it was too far from the passing mark, but I did the exam and I failed. And with failing, I failed because I was also focused on doing CAPE at the time. I didn't take any classes for that. I literally just had a big fat book and I tried studying, and it was hard. It was hard trying to maneuver school and do schoolwork, do CAPE, pass CAPE, and try to pass this exam. Now, once I did that and I passed the exam, I also applied to UE, which I got in, but then I had to pay like a fee to hold my seat. Now, at the time, that money was about $23,000. To do the exam again, I think, was about another 13 or 15,000 Jamaican dollars, and to apply to Canada was around 13,000 Jamaican dollars. So I weighed my options, and I'm like, hey, if I do that exam again, I'm not gonna pass. I know myself, and I know what I can do and what I cannot do, and it's not that I cannot do that, but at the time I just knew that I wasn't going to study again and pay for classes and do all that. I was just not interested, and I didn't know a lot of people who went to the US to study, but I did have one person in Canada who did, and it was seamless. Another thing too, with Canada, I was able to use my CAPE studies and CXC studies without having to take any exam to come here. So I was like, you know what, I'm betting my money on Canada. So I didn't pay the fee for UE as yet, because I had some time to wait and see. I didn't redo the exam for the US, and I said I'm going to pay for the application for Canada, and that is what I did. Now, once I did that, my mom was behind me 10 toes down. Now, how it worked was I had to find a school first, and I did my research. I ended up choosing Lakehead University, and once I chose Lakehead, I used that money to pay for the application fee for Lakehead. I then got in, and once I got in, I was like, okay, UE is out of the picture. US was already out, so Canada it is. Now, at the time when I was applying in 2018, in 2018, when I was doing my research and applying and doing all of that, I did everything on my own with the help of my friend Marisa. I also have one teacher, I love her to death, Miss Watson, and she hooked me up with another one of a past student who was in Canada, and she gave me some tips and some, you know, like why I should come to Canada. No, I will never forget this. She told me that when me I come Canada, I have to make sure some have my dirty money. And people, when she said that, I actually felt away, because I'm like, girl, wait, what you think? Is my family rich? No. But do I have a strong support system? Yes, 100%, right across the board. And so I was like, you know what, may I take that and take what she said and do what I need to do. So I ended up doing the entire application process. I did not have a laptop, guys, so I had to, my laptop at the time was not working, so I literally had to go to the internet cafe every day and get the guys there to help me like log into my Canadian account and fill out the forms, print the forms, because I did it on paper. People, I literally, when the time came for me to go and do the in-person interview, my mom and I went, and we spent the whole day there. We went from like 11-12 in the morning. We had an appointment that time. We didn't get in till about 5 p.m. and we didn't leave until 7. When I got in, it took so long to get in, and it took about 5 minutes to see me. When the lady saw me, I did not have my transcript from school. I also did not have another set of documents that I needed. People, I almost cried. And she said, go and get those and come back. That's what the lady said to me. Go and get those 2 documents and come back with everything. I said, no problem. And I ended up having to leave with my mom. We spent all day there, and I had to go back to my high school, waited a whole day to get my transcript. And once I finally got my transcript, and I don't remember the other document that I needed, I got everything. I booked the appointment and I went back there. And the morning that I went there, guys, the morning that my mom and I were supposed to go, I was living with my granduncle. He passed. The morning my mom got up to give him breakfast, and the man dead, gone to bed. And at this time I was like 18 years old, so my mom was like, Tassimel, you're going to have to go by yourself. Me got Kingston by myself. Me live a country, got Clarendon. Anyway, I remember the route because we had went already, and me being a big mature girly from long time, did what I needed to do. So I went there, and at the time it did not took as long as the first interview, like the first appointment. But the second appointment, the same lady saw me and she was like, oh yeah, where are the documents? This was like a week later, and I gave her my documents and she just checked everything off, and she was like, okay. I went and I paid for my biometrics, and guys, we're not even talking about the amount of money that this thing costed me, okay? Because I had to pay for the police record. I had to pay to get a new passport. I didn't have a passport. I had to pay to get my Jamaican passport. I had to pay more money for the biometrics, and by God's grace, when my grandma, my mom, everybody just helping, I did it. And after doing all of that, I wasn't aware that I needed to book a flight. Okay, so she took all my documents, took my passport that was around June, and then I got my passport back with the visa in it, the study visa, August. Now I should be going to school in September. I got it around like August 12, August 10, somewhere there, about the early part of August, and I need to leave like the end of August. And so thankfully my dad at the time, kudos to him, he was able to book me a flight to Canada and everything. That was 90,000 Jamaican dollars. Not only that, when doing the application, you have to show that you're going to have help. You're going to have the money to like for school and all this. Thankfully, I got a scholarship through my school, like an entrance scholarship. So I showed that. I showed my aunt, which is like my grand aunt. She helped me. She gave me a bank statement. My grandfather been my father from like time. He's been my daddy, okay? He made sure to give me his bank statements and everything, and that was how I was able to say, yeah, you know what, your girl can finance herself. Now, once I got to the airport, that was my first time flying on a plane, guys. Like, thinking about it now, like, that was my first time, and I was so grateful. I came to Canada as at 18 years old all by myself. I came to a whole new country, and to me that is mind-blowing. Like, what? Anyway, after I decided to come to Canada, once I got here, that's when I got the study permit, because you apply for the study visa, you come, and once you enter Canada, that's when you get your study permit. Got my study permit, got on the plane, came to Canada, got on the next plane, went to the city where Lakehead University is, and that's where I have been. Now, being there at the first year, my cousin, my other family member who is from the States, she basically loaned my mom and I the first part of my international fees, because the plan was for me to pay the first part, my mom would pay her back, and I would work and pay the second half. People, COVID-19 happened. Can you believe it? Anyway, with COVID-19 happening, a lot changed. That changed the entire trajectory of what my mom and I had planned. Okay, like, the lady my mom was supposed to start working for, she passed from COVID-19. I ended up didn't getting a job until about 4 or 5 months into the country. So I was not making any money. So anytime I needed groceries, anytime I needed just like anything, I'd have to like get my mom or my granddad or to send stuff. Get my mom or granddad or dad to send money for me, right? And sending Jamaican currency to Canada is not easy. So that was how I made it through. Thankfully, I lived on campus, so I did not have to worry about rent or anything. Once everything was good, I ended up finishing my first year, and with finishing my first year, I didn't get in. What a lot of people don't know is that I didn't get straight into nursing. Apparently, because I didn't do CAPE mathematics, it wasn't good enough to get me into CXC, wasn't good enough to get me into the nursing that they had. So I had to retake some nursing courses like psychology, biology, statistics, all these things, to just do through the 1 year and then get into nursing. Now, upon doing all of that, people, I still have not started like my actual degree as yet. I started a degree, but I ended up like stopping because of, you know, circumstances. Now, with COVID-19 happening, I had to take a break from school. I had no choice. It's either I was gonna come home, go back to Jamaica, or stay and run off, because I had no options. But I worked my ass off, and I got an option. Someone told me about going to the college instead, and that's when I decided to switch to the college, stay in the health field, and do something that was going to get me to work. Okay, work and make some money and figure out how to go back to school. That once I switched from the university to the college, that was a whole next story. I called the college every day, like, can I get into the course? Can I get into the program? Can I get into the program? Because my two options were personal support worker, which is PSW, or dental assisting level 1 and 2. Right, at first I was going to the PSW. I was hell bound on doing PSW, and I had a friend in the dental field, and she was like, girl, do dental assisting. It pays just as good. It's a 9 to 5, not as stressful as PSW, and it can help you to go further, right? And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. When the time come for me to pay the money, I had worked my ass off. KFC and Home Depot, blood, sweat and tears. People, it was hard, and I saved every dime I got, and I also had to pay off the remainder of my tuition fee with the help from an uncle. Okay, my uncle helped me. Big up Uncle O'Neill. Yeah, you, love you. Mwah. My uncle helped me. I finished paying off the rest, and once I finished that, then that's when I saved up. People, I saved every dollar I could get. Okay, and I saved, and this was like, Toy has been there for me. My current partner right now, he's been through the entire process, and that's why I have to give props to him, because he's been supporting me, been there day one. Like, we were friends ever since I stepped into this country, and he's been nothing but great to me. Now, after paying off my tuition with the help from my uncle and saving up, I saved over 10,000 Canadian dollars, and I was so proud of myself. People must hear 1 million Jamaican dollars. Can you believe I actually got to be a millionaire for a little bit? Yeah, you. I may not have been a millionaire in Canada, but I was a millionaire as a Jamaican, and I love that for myself. Now, with doing that, I ended up having to go back to the dental assisting to school, and so I paid for my first tuition. I bought all my books, I bought my first laptop, I did everything on my own, all while paying rent and like buy my own food and like surviving, guys. I literally did it. Can you believe that? No, after doing all of that, I got through dental assisting. It was 1 year. Thankfully everything went well. When I got to my second semester, I never have no money. Come use up all of the money, like, because I wasn't working full-time anymore to like survive. And this was when my mom know she had gotten a job and she was doing well, and so she stepped up and helped me. That time, people, as soon as I needed the money to go into the second semester, my grandfather died. So now my mom had to find money to pay for his funeral in Jamaica and to pay to put me back to finish school. When me telling us I go through it, I went through it, and I did ball. Me ball, see, I cried because I'm almost at the finish line, and just like that something else happened. So once all of that happened, I literally ended up going back to school, and for my third semester, which was in the summer, I had gotten my tax return, which is what I used to pay for my third semester. And I ended up doing my subject. I used money from the tax return as well, and from like a $600 scholarship from the university, from the college, to pay for my dental assisting exam. And I was still working on the weekends, not a lot, but I had to save that money up to help with rent, and to also just save it up to help with these little things. No, once I passed my exam, I immediately got a job, and I'm so grateful for that job. It was a good job. Was it? It was a decent job to start coming out of college. But people, it was an awful work environment, awful place to be. The people were not nice, not genuine. And now that I'm older, I understand that that's just how most workplaces are. But I'm telling you, that one day, toxicity all over it. I bought every day I came home, I cried on my way to work. I cried back and forth. I cried. So I had to deal with me bawling my eyes out because I hated my job. And at the time, because I got this job and I needed to get my next goal was my permanent residency. Because I needed to get my permanent residency, I was hell-bound on literally staying there and dealing with the toxicity. People, I got fired. June, July, August, September, October. 5 months into the job, I got fired. And honestly, I was so happy. When I got fired, I wasn't good at dental assisting because it's not easy when you just learn, and what you learn in school is way different from what you do in the actual offices. I was not good. I'm gonna say that. But it was not an office that like offered you progress. It wasn't an office like that. Yeah. So me never did in the mood for, like, not that I wasn't in the mood, I was not learning because I wasn't just there were like multiple dental assistants. It just wasn't a place to be for a new grad or anybody at all. Nobody in the work, so hell down, like hands down, I said it. No, after they fired me, I remember that day God said to me, even if an angel or God, something said to me, month from now you're gonna be in a better place. Look at the computer, look at the day, November 18, a month from now you're gonna be in a better place. And that day she fired me, and when she fired me, guys, I smiled. I looked at her and I gave a big smile like this. And the woman shocked. I think she thought I was gonna cry. I think she thought I was going to, but hearing that voice in my head literally a few hours before, and knowing that I hated that job, I was so happy. Because you know what, if they did not fire me, I would have not had the guts to quit. And I'm so happy it happened. In a life, you need to go through a lot of things so that you can experience it and know what it's the best thing them ever could have done for me. Thank you. Yeah. No, after that, I was so happy because they let me off like immediately. So they paid me for 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, whatever. My boyfriend was like, don't worry about it, you'll find a next job, you're good. And guys, I kid you not, I got fired that Friday. I applied for some jobs Sunday night because I'm not somebody who likes to just sit and wait. I'm not like that. The Monday, I got a call from my previous job, and the Tuesday, guys, I went and did the interview and I got the job. Can you believe it? it was a better working environment, less people, more money, like more money, and a place that offered me the ability to be progressive and to work and to learn, and also the dental office that helped me in the process of getting my permanent residency. Guys, let me tell you, after that everything started to come into play. Okay, now after that I then now started the process for my permanent residency. Now make sure you go to part 2 to hear about how I ended up started driving my car, how I ended up getting all the goals that I have listed, to getting my G2, getting my car, and working towards my permanent residence.